Hey everybody, welcome to Face to Face Gaming Podcast, episode 34. I am Alex Thompson, or Thompson Caw, yeah, that's my new thing. And joining me this week is Michael Vance.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Michael Vance, IRL friend of Sir Thompson Caw. Speaking of, okay, let's get this right out of the way, because I'm sure the viewers must also be confused. Thompson Caw, are you a snakekin now? Is that what's happening with that?
So, essentially, well, Athena's last name is Caw, and
Okay.
I go by Thompson,
Yeah.
and Alex Thompson is like the most generic name in the history of man. Like, I decided one day, is like, you know what? Well, I Google myself fairly regularly because I'm, a bit of a narcissist, but,
As doctors recommend,
well, of course,
Google yourself once a day.
Yeah, once a day. Anyway, so I Googled myself and I was like, I'm going through 28 pages. I went to the edge of the Google listing. Like, it says like so many millions, but they show 28 pages. And I looked at 28 pages of Google, and I wasn't in any of them. Like maybe a hint of like LinkedIn, because
Yeah.
that was a thing. So I had, LinkedIn there. Oh, hey, it's
Hello.
over.
Hey!
Yes, sorry. Apparently, when you don't drive, you don't account for rush hour traffic.
No,
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
We're just learning the story of how Alex Thompson died and Alex Caw came to life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was not sure what the hell was going on.
Yeah, so like I said, I was not able to find myself in Google at all. Anyway, I mean, that's fine, whatever. So, and then I was like, okay, well, let's Google Lyndon LaPierre. And he's like the first 5 hits. Let's Google Brennan Cattell, and he's like the first 2. And then let's Google Alex Orr, and he's on the first page for sure. And,
Did you do this in incognito mode?
of course.
Okay.
I know my shit. Anyway, so
I'm
yeah,
just impressed I'm on the first page now, then.
yeah, you should be. Anyway, so yeah, after searching everybody else that are involved in ADP, and I mean Maya obviously was like, boof everywhere. But I've always been incognito, I think would be the best word.
Well,
So
what you've always been is the owner of 2 very common names.
well, exactly. I mean, as far as the English-speaking world goes, Alex Thompson is so mind-blowingly generic that you just can't find me. So, in order to solve that problem, I used a couple different things. One, everybody calls me Thompson because of other Alex in the chat here. I don't know if you saw
Wave.
that. Yeah, no. Now that we have you in the chat, it's not just you can see in the corner down here. Anyway, or no, that's reversed. So down here.
Yeah, bit to the left.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Anyway.
that one. Anyway, so everybody called me Thompson, so I was like, okay, everybody calls me Thompson. That's great. There's a select few people who call me Alex, and like close family and friends, because obviously that's my name. But then I was like, okay, well, how am I going to differentiate myself? And then Athena brought up, like, why not Thompson Caw, and take her last name? And I'm like, okay, that sounds amazing. So I took that opportunity, jumped on it, and here we are. So in the gaming world, I am now known as Thompson Caw. So
So this wasn't also legal?
no, this is not a legal change.
Oh, not nearly as much fun.
Well, I don't know, maybe one day.
I bet there's not many. Oh,
My Google results is always polluted by this guy named Michael Vance, who was apparently a stop-motion animation specialist back when it was first coming around. So, although I do actually, my Twitter does show up on the first page, so
all right.
I'm doing better than you were.
See, here's the thing. So not only do I have to worry about Alex Thompson, I also have to worry about Alex Thompson. So
OP?
No P, because Google will actually take the results from both and shove them into the same thing. So there's like a race car driver, there's famous photographers, artists, business people, actors, like everything. You fucking name it. There has been an Alex Thompson or Thompson in the world who has done it. So it's like, how the fuck am I going to show up in Google?
So,
Becoming far more important than you currently are.
so I understand Thompson, Tomson. Was your ancestor the son of Tomp?
Yes.
Alrighty then.
What's your genetic heritage again?
Mine?
Yeah.
So it's 50% English, Scottish, Irish, the Isles.
Yeah.
Not quite 50. Not quite 50% French, and then 30 seconds Mohawk.
All right. I'm
Fair enough.
trying to decide if any of those. None of those are cultures that would add a P or would for. Tomp is not anything in those. I don't think. I cannot
English?
think of. What?
English, man. Like, English
You
is
speak
fucked. I do speak it, and English is a fucked up language. Dude, like, the fact that TH is just like T, like Tom, like Th, and like, I don't know. I think of like my family history is coming from Yorkshire, right? Like, northern England, and it's like there's so many missing vowels and consonants, it just kind of rolls out. It's really a beautiful language if you can understand it, and if you can't, it's like, well, what just happened? I don't know.
Plus, if there was any Welsh in there, I know there's lots of odd amounts of consonants in Welsh words in comparison to.
I can totally segue from that. So, I've been playing a lot of Crusader Kings 2, and so is my boss. And my boss has been playing it like every day. And he's telling me about his empire, or the building of his empire, because he started as one of the Welsh minor provinces, right? And he is so stoked to have almost conquered all of England. And he wants to form the empire that is Britannia when it's spelled, like if you're English and Scottish. But apparently when you're Welsh, it's like some weird thing. Like, I don't even know all the letters that goes into it, but he tried explaining to me, and it's not online because in that game, if you were to create a country or create, like take over a province or something, your culture gets applied to that. So, like, say if the Norwegians take over, say, York, for example, then it changes to Jorvik. So,
Okay.
so as the Welsh to take over Britannia, it's like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't even know.
Fair enough.
So I don't know. It's fun. I like that game a lot.
That's one of those games that I don't know that I have, like, the week of time to put into learning that game.
Yeah.
I fired it up one night when it was like 9 o'clock and was like, yeah, I'll give this a bash. And then I saw that it's like, you can see the real-world historical facts about these characters that you're playing with if you go into the Wikipedia page, which there's a button for it. I'm like, oh, this is that level of detail. I am in far over my head.
Oh, it's dangerous. It is really dangerous. Like, but okay, and to put this into perspective, so he started learning Crusader Kings 2 about the time when it came out.
Okay.
It's been like a solid year since it came out, maybe more. And he's only just got to the point where he can play the game, understand the game, and enjoy the game. It has taken him this long to actually figure out how to play the fucking thing. Whereas,
yeah, that's...
like, I mean, I figured it out fairly quickly, but that's because I've had some Paradox experience. But yeah, like, it's a fucking hard series to get into. But
Fair
anyway,
enough. Kind of one of those high barrier to entry games.
yeah.
Just segueing off that, just as an aside, there are a lot of games out there that would actually be improved by having a inbuilt link to the wiki or wikia or the Wikipedia entry of that game. I'm thinking like Binding of Isaac, things where you use loot that drops.
Well, yeah, if they had like a developer-made wiki that you could just reference to be like, what?
Yeah,
what
in-game instead of having to alt-tab, because a lot of games actually don't like it when you alt-tab.
Well, and like, Minecraft was like that. Minecraft is still like that. If you're just given the game, there's next to no tutorial whatsoever. And that was like, I mean, now so many people have played it that usually the person who's showed the game to you is like, yeah, you do this, this, and this. But when it was just a little game that you played on a browser and just had like creative mode, when they first introduced survival mode, it was like, what do I do? Where's all the blocks?
Well, and I mean, like, especially with the first one, you start out playing and you're just like, okay, so I just picked up a hypodermic needle. What does this do? Right, I mean, like, he'll say speed up or damage up, but beyond that, it's like, well, by how much? I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, I have this weird growth sticking out of the side of my head.
Yes. That is some of the joy of that game, is kind of the discovery aspect, especially when you get into the pills and tarot cards.
Yeah.
You just gotta remember.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, the pills, even if once you do memorize what the actual effects are, you still don't know what the hell that is the first time.
Oh, yeah, well, and that's the roguelike part of it, right? Because
Yeah.
it changes every time. Oh, man.
Still, I know I've never seen one, but I'm still convinced that somewhere in that game, is a pill that just instantly kills you.
There should be, if they want to follow the roguelike thing. Because that definitely exists in roguelikes. Like,
Oh yeah, drinking strange potions used to be a rather more dangerous feat than it is today.
oh god,
Like LSD or something.
I remember very distinctly like being in. Well, I was playing NetHack, and it was just like, okay, well, let's just drink this thing. Oh, now you're gonna die in 5 turns. Like, what? Like, are you fucking serious? Like, that game doesn't fuck around. It will kill you in a heartbeat.
Speaking of strange potions, so I was playing D&D, and it was like with a group of new people, and we came across this pool, and there was a dragon head where the water was coming out, and so it was like, well, there's enough water trickling out that you can slowly fill up one vial of water, and so it's like, okay, it's like this doesn't seem like regular water, so our party tank, who's new to the game, is like, I'll drink it. Oh, okay. And then he's like, what do I do? Did you turn around and say that? Yeah. Well, you just breathed dragon fire over your entire party, as that was a potion of fire breath. Thanks. That was awesome.
Actually, this is an interesting addendum to the potion theorem, is that you never really think about what direction you're facing when you eat or drink the potion.
Yeah.
And which direction you projectile vomit, fire in this case,
Or, literally explosive diarrhea.
Literally.
So I know chilies hurt just as much coming out as they hurt going down. Are there any like magical side effects 3 days after you drink some of those potions?
Yes.
Ooh.
Don't ask me how I know that.
Terrible, terrible medical bills. That's how you know that.
All I can see is Alex in the bottom, and I'm just like, oh.
I'm just picturing possible potion side effects. 3 days later, you spontaneously grow a giant locust out of your back.
It's bound to happen one of these days. I mean, really, like, YOLO.
YOLO, right?
So, how long have you guys been going?
Not long. You joined in within the first 5 minutes for sure.
Oh, shit. Okay. Because I can totally segue off potions.
Do it.
Okay.
Because you want to know a game that I've been playing that does potions in a remarkably smart way?
Is it Divinity Original Sin?
No! Because handle potions in mundane and uninteresting, or at least un, they do it the regular way. I'm talking about Dragon Age Inquisition.
I was gonna say, is it Dragon Age?
Yeah, because I've played a lot of Dragon Age since it came out.
Oh, really? Well,
How is it?
That was a very odd overread. Oh, it is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a brief aside. I have put 30 hours into Dragon Age over the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks, you say? Dragon Age has only been out for 1 week. No. Dragon Age Origins. I never played it when it came out. I put like 5 hours into it at some point, like a year ago or something like that, and just kind of put it down because that's what I do. I have terrible gaming ADD. But I picked it up and just got super hooked into that game. I've put like 35 hours into the past, like I said, couple weeks, and just been ravenously devouring that game.
I will be interested to see what you have to say after you play the second, because this is a much different game.
I don't know if I'm going to play the second is the thing, because, and I want to get you back to talking about Inquisition, I'm very excited for Inquisition. It looks gorgeous. I'm being told that the story is very good, and that the story of 2 was not. So like, it makes me very excited to play that. But because I haven't played the first one, I'm going to want to, and I'm probably going to be burnt out after I finish the first one, so I might have to wait a few months before I get to play Inquisition.
It is a fairly... unless you're going to get tired of the narrative or the setting, then if it's in terms of mechanical tiredness, it plays much differently than the first, and it's quite good actually. The first one was a very technical kind of game. If you were playing it, really, there was a lot of pausing, moving, queuing commands, as I recall. Is that your experience?
Or if you were me, there was a lot of going to Google and typing in, "What's a good tactics combination? I need to be not dying."
Well, the AI is both a hell of a lot smarter, and the mechanics of the game are significantly different than the first. So, you could, I feel, probably jump immediately into Inquisition if it's just you're probably going to be tired of how it plays.
It's probably going to be genre tiredness, is what usually happens. The worst time it happened was I played through Fallout 1. And by the way, if you've never gone back to play Fallout 1, I highly recommend it. It's a completely different game to Fallout 3.
Both. Play the first two. They're both amazing.
The first two are both amazing games, especially the second. But the problem is, I finished up Fallout 1 and then instantly went back into Fallout 2, which is basically the same game with just a bunch of, like, it's much better optimized, but it's still the same thing. And that kind of, I petered out after like 5 hours. I'm like, I can't do another whole RPG like this yet. But it's fine. There's Far Cry and stuff. But please continue about Dragon Age Inquisition.
Actually, have you ever played? I adore Fallout. Like, it is probably my second favorite video game series of all time. Have you ever played Fallout Tactics?
No, that
Okay.
is the one that I haven't played. Actually, why have they not made another Fallout game? That has to be in the pipes.
Yeah, I mean, Skyrim was the last one, and if we don't count Elder Scrolls Online, which was, while still Bethesda, I kind of feel like a different thing. Fallout is next on the list, because they do alternate the two, Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Or at least they have in the past.
Have they, though? Because Bethesda did Fallout 3.
Well,
and
it
then,
went
wasn't
Oblivion,
it?
Fallout 3, Skyrim, New Vegas, nope, Skyrim the last one, New Vegas was before it. I don't know the exact order, but I believe they tend to alternate.
Okay.
Well, it came out Oblivion first, and then it was Fallout 3. Then it was Fallout New Vegas, then it was Skyrim.
Fallout New Vegas had a very short iteration cycle.
It was very soon after Fallout 3, you're right.
Yeah, because it came out pretty quickly. Because I think they just
2 years.
yeah, they did their thing. Well, 2 years, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, October 19th, 2010 was New Vegas, and October 28th, 2008 was Fallout 3.
That is actually the kind of hinge in this particular theory, though, because those two were released back to back. There wasn't an Elder Scrolls game in the middle.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Hopefully they're working on another Fallout, because I love Fallout, even the new ones.
There was a rumor going out about Fallout Boston, but I don't think that's going to be a thing, unfortunately. I just want another Fallout game.
Yeah, I wonder if they're ever going to do HD remixes of the first two. Because they would play like old games. Those are clunky, if innovative systems, but...
They had the old school finger constantly hovering over the quick save mentality.
I have burned out so many F5 keys.
It was very easy to get very screwed over in that game.
But simultaneously, it was really easy to kind of subvert a lot of the systems. Because, admittedly, it's not really a subversion, but the ability to pickpocket somebody and then plant a live grenade in their inventory so it doesn't enter combat.
What was that? I believe I heard the coin being phrased put pocketing.
Yeah.
Where you put a mine in someone's pocket. But
you see, there's the VAT system in those games really did make me happy. I mean, I wasn't really into the new Fallouts. Like I did play Fallout 3, and I played it to completion, but I had no real desire to go play New Vegas. But when I got to Megaton and I shot that asshole in the fucking face, and his head just went all over the walls, and then all of a sudden, up in the corner, it said, that my karma went up, and then people in the bar started going, "Good riddance." I'm like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That's really the one thing I would enjoy in a post-apocalyptic society: the nonchalance in terms of anybody caring about like blatant homicide in front of them.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like anywhere, outside or anything, or even far away. It was like in the bar, like he got up. No, he wasn't even up. He was sitting down. And it was just like, no, I don't like you at all. Boom.
Yeah, the old Western, nah, you're just going to die now.
Swinging doors open, shotgun comes up. Yeah. Actually, it's hilarious, but I think I can actually perfectly visualize that bar in Mega. Yeah, because he's there, and then, yeah. There's an L-shaped bar, yeah.
Yep. That's exactly it. Sitting at the corner, and, at a little table, and I'm just like, hey.
Glasses and a hat.
And then I started to wear those glasses and that hat. Because they were mine now.
Thompson, did you only play 3, or did you play 1 and 2 as well?
I dabbled in 2. I never actually got the chance to play 1 or 2 in full. But yeah, I don't know. I've been meaning to go back and try them. I just haven't found the time.
Well, the reason I ask is because if you played 3, then you kind of hit upon the one Fallout game that doesn't have one of the core features of Fallout. Not many people consider this to be a core feature, but I do. So there is what is called a trait system, which at the beginning of the game you pick a trait, and a trait would be something like during the night you have much better perception and gun handling, but during the day you have much lower perception. They're very strong benefits and strong hindrances.
Or just kind of cosmetic or jokey. I mean, Bloody Mess being the perfect example of that.
That is exactly where I was going.
That was the first one I picked.
Yeah, Bloody Mess was a glorious feature of that game, and I couldn't remember if it was in 3. Was it in 3?
Oh, yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Good.
That was the first thing I picked, and it was messes everywhere.
Yeah. No, that's... it's such a great feature. There's nothing like shooting a rad scorpion in the head once with a pistol, and its limbs just exploding everywhere.
Well, and that was exactly where I was gonna go. Like, not any big gun, like a 9mm pistol, like pew.
Yeah, well, That's the actual image on the bloody perk. Is him with like, think the cricket from Men in Black 1, something that size, just pointing at like a super mutant or something, and the mutant's torso just being dissolved in a bloody mist behind him.
Oh, good times. Good
Yeah.
times.
I really like Fallout.
So speaking of Fallout, you're enjoying Dragon Age Inquisition?
Yeah, Fallout's $11 on Steam. I'm amazed.
To be
Wait,
fair, it's an old
which
game.
Fallout?
Fallout like 1 and 2.
Together?
Actually,
Sorry, Fallout 2 is $10. Do they even have Fallout 1? Oh, they do. Yeah. Yeah,
I
they're
wonder if it
$11
would be
each.
better to get those on Good Old Games.
I tried to look there, but no results found.
Well, and
It might be that
Fallout
Good Old
1
Games doesn't have a deal with them.
What wasn't Fallout 1 free on Good Old Games for a while?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, I'm not
there was
crazy.
there was a period of time where that did happen.
I have trouble condoning anybody purchasing those games for $11 these days. Admittedly, this is 11 Canadian. We did recently switch over to the Canadian dollar in the Steam store.
Probably
Here.
makes them $9.99.
Yeah, be my guess. Which
I
is
definitely just searched Good Old Games on Good Old Games.
Well
I'm
done.
not a smart man.
Well, you sure are pretty.
Well, those will go on sale immediately in a Steam sale. So if anybody listening to this has the least bit of interest in, just wish list them. When they go on for like $3 or $4, $5 even, I could easily justify for those games.
If
Well,
you,
isn't there a sale coming up?
yeah, this should be the winter
Christmas.
sale.
Yeah.
Well,
Did
no,
we
there
just-
should be a Thanksgiving one.
Oh, does Steam do Black Friday?
I thought they did.
I don't remember. We'll find out.
No, I don't think Steam does a Black Friday. Maybe they do
I
like a
mean,
couple of sales, but it's nothing like the Christmas sale.
Oh, well, nothing's like their Christmas sale. That's like everything. Like, let's get it out the door. Everything's on fire.
Assassin's Creed Unity just came out. I mean, this is a bad example because that probably will go on sale for Steep's discount. But a good game, AAA title that just came out for $60 or whatever, will be on sale in a month. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is a pretty bad example.
Yeah.
Because you used the word good.
Hey, if you'd listened, I'd actually said Unity was a bad example because A, it's going to go on sale anyway because it's bad by all accounts. I've not played it
Now,
personally.
I don't necessarily know that it's bad. I know that it's broken.
Okay,
When
that's
they
fair. That's fair.
fix it might be a decent game.
From what I've read and what I've seen so far, Paris looks absolutely fucking amazing. And that's a world that I would love to run around and jump around in because Paris is an amazing city to see. It's not one I particularly want to go to again because it's really busy and smelly, but it's a very beautiful city.
Not
So-
the French people, though. We're okay with the French people.
Oh, absolutely. You and I are both half French. But anyway, but yeah, like Paris is one of those cities, like it is absolutely stunning. Like it is beautiful, gorgeous. And if they can recreate that properly, especially Renaissance France, like that is an awesome like world to run around in. Something that hasn't really been done in games that often.
I will say that I have heard nobody complain about the visuals in Unity. By all accounts, it is a very good-looking game when it works.
Yes,
Yeah, when it works.
when it works. I mean, I think that they thought they had such good artistic design that they decided to show you both the inside and outside of someone's head.
At the same time,
That one image is the one that always gets circulated too. It's that image of a very proper French lady who's just a set of floating eyeballs and mouth, and then you can see what looks like her eye stalks going back down her throat, and it's just terrifying.
So I'm gonna look this up right now, but there's a picture, and it's just the best. It's essentially that picture, that screenshot, but done in like 1800s Renaissance France, like painting. It is fucking amazing. I'm gonna find it right now. Go talk.
Well, do you know what a game that even a lot of games have released broken these days? This is just a fact of life, right?
Yeah.
One game from somebody who you may have not even expected it. released a game that was more or less completely bug-free in my experience when it came out. Do you know what that game is? It also involves potions.
Is it Assassin or Dragon Age Inquisition?
Yes.
Hey, we finally got back to it.
Full circle. Seriously, to speak of the potions, to kind of illustrate the attention to detail of this game, and a kind of attention to a serious world-building experience is many, if not most, fantasy games have potions as a means to restore health.
Just
This is
generic health in a
effectively.
bottle.
Yeah. But what you never ever see is what they do with the bottle afterwards. There's a slug. They take a slug and it's gone.
I always assumed it was Thor style. This was delicious. I'll have another.
In that regard, that is what Dragon's Age Inquisition does. They actually animate and show them disposing of the bottle. They throw it on the ground. The glass shatters across the grass. It's very good, and it is. It speaks to the not Dragon Age 2-ness of this game.
Fair enough.
Because Dragon Age 2 was a game that was apparently very well written. The companions were incredibly well crafted. They were the people in that world were both a joy to love and hate, but the world itself was lacking in many features.
So it was a BioWare game.
Well, worse than many, because actually that means you really have something you need to say.
Well, I was just gonna. Have you ever heard about the BioWare problem? How every BioWare game is the same overarching plot?
Oh yes, I have heard people say that in the past.
The BioWare, I say problem. It's not really. It's just a design philosophy. What BioWare seems to do is, if you take most BioWare games, the main story tends to fit almost perfectly into the hero's journey, otherwise known as the monomyth, which,
Sure.
if you're a fan of literature, is kind of this whole idea that every story has kind of the same plot beats. Lord of the Rings is one of the great examples of it. It goes like, there's a character who lives in a normal life, he has friends, and then something bad happens. And then an older mentor figure takes him out of this place, shows him the ropes, then the mentor dies, so he has to overcome the loss of his mentor and then go back out into his own. There's several different plot kind of points
Let me
that
put
all
it in.
wrap around in a circle.
Think Star Wars trilogy, the original Star Wars trilogy.
There you go. Yeah, Star Wars is a very great example. I'm trying to remember all the points of the monomyth, but it's not really important. The reason I say it's not really a problem is because instead of BioWare focusing on a super great story, like pretty much all the Mass Effect games, the story was okay, but instead of focusing on the story, they usually focus on dynamite characters. And that's why the things that you remember from BioWare games are almost always the characters. Yeah. That's what's pushing you through those games.
How many games can claim to have, a Garrus or a Morrigan or the bloody Solace scientist whose name is completely escaping me? Morden Saul. Yeah,
Yes.
How many games can claim to have characters of that caliber?
Morden Saul made me cry in
Yeah,
Mass
3.
Effect 3. That's the only time I have ever cried in a game. Oh, your fingers are very close to your camera.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just watching, and I got it on my big computer monitor, and your hand is just
Yes,
ominous.
I need to null when doing this kind of stuff is getting the better of me. Yeah, I at this point I'm willing to spoil certain aspects of Mass Effect. I could spoil all of Mass Effect 3. If you're going to play that, you've played it. What
Mass
choice?
Effect 3 is only 3 years old or so.
Yeah. What choice did you choose to give Morden?
Well, the problem with Morden is that there's only one choice that can avoid it. So I guess a bit of explanation. Morden Solis is a scientist on your ship, and it turns out that he actually ended up inventing this terrible plague that
Intentionally.
he did. intentionally created it that is that kind of had a bigger scope than they thought it would, and is kind of wiping this species out of existence. And so, while the world is under attack, he decides that he is going to sacrifice his life to go up and administer the antidote to the entire race through MacGuffin magic. But
through science.
yes, he knows in doing this that he is going to die. And say what you want about Mass Effect 3 having a bad story and a bad ending, that really was a touching moment. But yeah, it just very
what? Sorry, so. Okay, I shot him in my game.
Yeah.
What did you do?
That is, I believe, the only way that you can prevent him from dying is if you have enough renegade to shoot him, because it is the only way he will not go up and kill himself to save that species.
So, in order to save him from killing himself, you have to kill him.
No, he's dead. No, he's dead.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
I killed Warden.
I guess because one of the legitimate choices that you could make in that game is that the reasons that they had to invent that plague were valid reasons, and if you didn't want that species to keep reproducing, then...
Well, to revert back to the rate of reproduction that would have annihilated the rest of the known civilized species.
I guess there is, I believe, a renegade option to punch him in the face and knock him out, rather than just killing him. I've heard. Maybe I heard that wrong. Maybe it is just a shooting option.
I don't recall that being an option. I think it was very binary. It was either he, sings his song on his way up the elevator, or
that got me.
God, that fucking song. I have that on my phone. I'm not gonna lie. Or no, you kill him.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But again, to back up halfway, if not all the way, BioWare narratives have never necessarily been the most interesting things, or perhaps the most original things, I should say, but the worlds in which they set them have been universally incredibly deep and well-crafted. The amount of lore in both the Dragon Age and Mass Effect series is staggering. So their ability to kind of play on that and take advantage of that is something that has made Dragon Age 3 a real delight, because they've even, it's hilarious, you've played, like you said, 35 hours in a couple weeks?
Yes.
I've played about 30 hours in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to jump this really quickly because I found the thing, and it looks like this.
That is the exact same picture I have open on my opposite screen.
It's so
good. It's fantastic. And terrifying.
It is.
Terrifying.
Okay. Back to your thing.
Yeah. I don't know what my thing was anymore.
Something about stuff.
Stuff and things. BioWare games. Great world. 30 hours in 3 days.
Yeah. They created for themselves an interesting problem with the Dragon Age series, because you play a different character in each game. And not only that, but characters can die. Like, your character can die in the first game if you make a certain set of choices, which makes it really hard, or at least made it, I would think, really challenging to kind of create a both somebody the player could, relate to, and likewise somebody they could have be different but equally possibly important to the player, because they can't rely on a single shepherd, for instance.
Yes. No, I know exactly what you mean. In opening up so many choices to your character, it really does eliminate the concept of your driving main force, because, well, it's the whole, it's basically the difference in philosophy between Western RPGs and Japanese RPGs. where Western RPGs generally have the main character be an extension of yourself. Generally, you're not playing as a character. You are playing as you translated through a character, which means it's much harder to have a solid main character factors because you want to give as many options as possible. And then the Japanese side is you are viewing a story. You are helping a story along.
Yeah.
Like Howard Full Boyfriend?
Like Hatoful Boyfriend.
Did I pronounce it
My
wrong?
God, that is an amazing game. Not a good game, an amazing game.
Those do not necessarily have to go hand in hand. I've
No.
known many amazing games to be absolutely awful.
Oh,
One day I'll play it. One day.
but
Maybe I'll
yes,
live stream it.
But yes, that could and is a problem in many places. But I think the way kind of BioWare got around that was to, instead of crafting a character for you to get invested in, what they did was crafted a world with enough overarching kind of structures and big enough concepts in place to allow you to become invested in it, or at least aspects of it, to such a degree as to kind of make up for the lack of, consistency, I guess, in player character. And the Dragon Age, I think, is probably the best example of that because they had a shepherd in the last one that they could kind of lean more heavily on. And basically what I'm kind of getting to with all this is that if you become invested in the world of Dragon Age, as I have to some degree, less than many, but as I have to some degree, and you've played the games and you've read most of the stuff you pick up, because God knows there's enough codex entries, that Dragon Age 3 is a wonderful kind of culmination of all that. They've kind of tied together all the aspects of the previous games in terms of like political intrigue and societal assumptions and conditioning and all that kind of crap, and managed to create kind of a world state in which it's hard not to become tied up in it. And for instance, another game I've been playing is Far Cry 4, and that is a game in which I give zero shits about anyone or anything in it.
yeah, that's kind of a have fun.
Yeah,
Here's a shotgun and a quad. Why don't you go kill some things?
and a wingsuit.
You don't want to kill people? Go kill tigers.
Yeah.
Be fun.
Fallout 4 is a really good game if you like Fallout 3, because it is just Fallout 3 again.
Far Cry.
Far Cry. Fallout 3 was also good.
Fallout 3, Fallout 4, I'm
Amazing.
assuming will be an amazing game, but
Oh god, I should actually check in to see who's working on what, because Skyrim was awesome, but the MMO was mediocre at best. So
well, I don't look at Skyrim and think, man, it would be really awesome if there was 1,000 other people also doing these things.
No kidding, eh?
Like, that is totally not what I want out of Skyrim.
No, not for a second.
that didn't actually stop people from at least attempting to, I never followed up on it, but attempting to create a Skyrim multiplayer mod.
Now, co-op would be awesome because, like, adventuring with your friends.
Yeah.
But
Borderlands.
being in the middle of... I don't understand people who still try to make MMOs narrative experiences. Because there's just something inherently ridiculous about getting out of a grave cutscene where somebody's like, this person is trying to destroy the world. And then you close down your cutscene, and the first thing you see is lol boobs, lol.
A naked, a man in a loincloth with a pink top hat dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or want to buy this item, or it's like it just instantly there's no connection.
RP servers, I guess, being the possible exception to that, which are
Yes.
something that I have no experience with, so I cannot speak to them. That being said, I wonder if this is a more Western assumption or mentality. I have very little experience in proper Japanese, Asian, I should say, MMOs. So I have no idea what the general kind of community or vibe of those things are.
I know enough to know how little I know. Like, there is a much, much different ecosystem for MMOs over in, especially South Korea. From what I understand, MMOs are huge in South Korea, as well as, esports. But,
Man,
and
South
that's
Korea.
just, like, it's big over here. MMOs are big over here, but not, I don't know, I wouldn't say anywhere near to the degree.
I would argue, okay, this is probably more to do with or at least my particular, life situation in terms of I play a lot of games, but there's no cultural, what the fuck? Damn, I had that word. There's basically you don't automatically associate Western culture with MMOs, which is something you do kind of as a gamer trope, I guess, would be that they're big over there. But
Yeah, Western culture, you think more about the Call of Duty,
yeah,
the Madden. By the way, I sound like my parents are. The Call of Duties? The video game.
Oh, jeez.
My parents don't know nearly enough to know what a Call of Duty is. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. It's not a instant go-to. Whereas when I think of China and I think of gaming in China, I think of, I don't know why Perfect World is the game that comes up. Maybe because I played a little bit of it. Just lots of Chinese MMOs and no
Movies.
skeletons.
No skeletons, kind of a cultural thing. Yeah, skeletons
Yeah.
bad.
That's a
Yeah.
weird thing. But hey,
I don't know.
everyone's got their stuff.
Number 7 is lucky.
Is it 8? Is it 8 that's associated with death in Japanese?
That sounds right.
That either could have sounded culturally insightful or revealed how very little I know about the world.
Well, you did your part. That's what
Yeah,
matters.
Anyway, I could speak to great length on Dragon Age, but I will probably actually do so on the next podcast because I'll have probably finished it by then. How's that? I'll do it next podcast. I've also been playing a little bit of Far Cry 4. It's all right. It's more Far Cry. If you like Far Cry 3, you will like Far Cry 4. They've made no improvements to the narrative in my.
I have heard reports of hitching problems, especially when you get going on vehicles.
I have not experienced that personally, so in a test case of 1, there's 0% of that happening.
Gotta love that lack of sample data.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm running a fairly old card, honestly, and I'm having no problems with it. Like running it on fairly high settings. I've only got a 590 GTX, which was the top end card of that series because it was a dual GPU. Because I'm EP. Also, I haven't had to upgrade in like 3 years because of it.
Fair enough.
Well,
I just
to be
built a
fair-
new machine, so I'm
To be
very
fair,
excited
that-
to try out.
With your
Sorry.
90 series, that's also like way better than a lot.
Yeah.
Even if it is a 5, it's still way better.
Generally with NVIDIA, like, the generational gap isn't nearly as important as the quality gap. Though I will say,
in terms of inside
NVIDIA.
by side series.
typically.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
side by side series, high end card in bottom probably still better than medium end card in the
like,
newer one.
A
Yeah.
490 is going to be better than a 580, even though, generally speaking.
Yeah, actually, a lot of that also has to do with chipsets. Because
Because I know these recent chipsets. I got a 970 myself, and everyone's blown away by how good these Maxwell chipsets are doing.
they're getting smaller, getting colder, because
Yeah.
there was a period before the miniaturization increased again that the cards were like 14 freaking inches long.
Yeah, no, I think I'm rocking 280 millimeters on mine.
Yeah,
So that's about just under 12 inches
Yeah.
for all you Imperials out there.
Let's see, the States and was it Borneo? I can never remember the other one.
Fair enough.
Uh,
So
there's two
yeah,
countries as I understand it.
That's okay. Sure. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I started listening to the plot and I'm like,
well, I just spilled all over.
yay!
Interesting. Let's see, the other countries that have not officially adopted the metric system are Liberia and Burma.
India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan. Sorry, the only way I know the countries of the world is through the Animaniacs Countries of the World song, which I do know by memory as one of my many, hey, I decided to learn this instead of useful life skills.
Let's be honest, the Animaniacs were nothing if not useful life skills.
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's definitely useful. I mean, think about it. That song is every country. Like,
Also, possibly out of date.
Every country circa 1985 or 1990.
Like 92. I think the Soviet Union was gone, so.
It was the first. It was in the first episode. So I believe Animaniacs started that. Man, speaking of Animaniacs, that show holds up so very well. And, like, I would highly recommend anyone go back and watch that show just to get the opposite, just to get the things you never got as a kid. Like, okay, the second or third episode, this is a weird tangent, I know, on a gaming podcast, but just roll with this.
yeah.
The second or third episode, there is a short called The HMS Wacko. And the entire thing is a parody of the HMS Pinafore.
Yeah.
Play by Gilbert and Sullivan. Now, most people have no idea what that is. Basically,
we'll know one song. Everybody knows one song.
Yes. That is the Modern Major General song.
Yes.
Which actually, to tie this all back in, is the song that Morden Sullen parodied and was singing as he took his final elevator ride.
I am the very model of a modern...
Of a scientist Solarian.
Scientist Solarian, yes.
But, yes, it's one of those shows that wasn't afraid to be like, most people aren't going to get this, but we're going to put this in because it makes us laugh, and somebody out there will also laugh when they hear it.
I am the very model of a cartoon individual.
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, in terms of shows of that type, it's basically only seconds to like the original Looney Tunes in terms of watchability to the young and old. Because like the original the 40s and 50s Looney Tunes are still probably one of the pinnacles of animation and cartoons.
That's extremely racist. Holy crap.
There was a few that were extremely racist.
Yeah.
But generally, it's not... I wouldn't say as a rule they were racist. I would definitely say there are some examples that you can definitely find out there, but...
let's... off the top of my head, I can think of the short that I believe... Oh, which one was Hitler? Because this was, again, during...
yeah, that was one for sure.
Yeah.
That
was one of the 1940s.
Is the one you're thinking of the one where Donald was working in a production plant? Because that was... I don't remember a Looney Tunes one with Hitler, but I remember
not even Disney. I believe you're right in that Donald was working in a munitions factory or something.
Yes, he was building bombs. The one bit I remember from that is... there would be bombs and then pictures of Hitler, and he would have to do the Hitler salute in between every time he made a bomb. It was weird. Yeah.
Weird as only 1940s war propaganda can be.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I don't remember that.
It's the kind of thing that they tried really hard to suppress.
Speaking of racism, and by racism I mean racial diversity, have you guys seen the cast for Blizzard's Overwatch? How's that for a segue?
I have not even heard of Blizzard's Overwatch.
Wait, really? You haven't heard of it?
What?
Okay,
First new Blizzard IP in 17 years.
Okay. We're going to talk about Overwatch in a moment. We're going to have to talk about Overwatch. But that segue. Like, what the
Ladies
fuck?
and gentlemen, this is what I do.
It's like, okay.
You really wanted to get there, didn't you, Mike?
Apparently. Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah.
Screaming, but when you get
Okay,
out there.
I will grab this picture and throw it in group chat. You to
You
view.
can take the horns on this one. You are way more excited about it than I am, so by all means.
Okay, so
I am excited about it, for the record.
Blizzard is releasing a new game called Overwatch. They announced it at the latest BlizzCon. It is a team-based shooter.
I was getting a real Borderlands vibe just looking at the character art.
Yes, the words that people are using to describe it is how do they phrase it? Because Valve took Dota 2, Blizzard is taking Team Fortress 3.
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually.
There are, and as soon as you say that, people come out of the woodworks and tell you all the differences. They're quite right. They're different games, but if you wanted a good, in a nutshell, it's kind of a variation on the Team Fortress style. There is no team deathmatch mode, even though it's a first-person shooter. It's all objective-based. So,
FPS.
and actually, it's kind of an FPS MOBA, because each character, rather than just having a weapon, has a set of abilities. So everybody has a movement ability, everybody has like a regular ability, and then everyone has an ultimate.
Okay, this is class-based?
No, character-based.
Okay.
So it's not, this is a heavy with this weapon. It's so like I will use their example character, Tracer. So Tracer is a light character who has 2 light pistols, a very high rate of fire pistols, almost like shotgun blasts in how fast they shoot. Her abilities are all about manipulating time. So she can speed forward. She has up to 3 dash charges that she can speed forward and do. She can rewind time to end up where she was and have the same health she did 3 seconds ago. And her ultimate is she has a sticky bomb that if you stick somebody with it, it kills them instantly. Basically, there is a whole host of characters, from Reinhardt, the slightly crazy man in a giant mech suit with an energy shield and a hammer, to Winston, the genius ape.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. It's a very large cast picture. If you are looking at home, if you Google Overwatch, it's the very first big character portrait.
God, almost strangely Western anime-ish.
Kind of. There's very, especially the ninja guy is kind of rocking that vibe.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, and I was very impressed, Chris Metzen actually mentioned it when he was talking about it, was they're trying to go for a lot more diversity in this game. I did a brief count, and if you don't count the non-humans, so if you take out Winston the ape and Zenetta, I believe, the Optic, who is a robot, there are 7 male characters in that cast picture and 5 female characters in that cast picture. And of those, you have a Japanese person, an Egyptian person, an African person, just a bunch of different races and different genders. And it's really refreshing for me to see something that comes out and is very unique. Although the MOBA scene has always actually been fairly decent, just because it's like, well, if we're gonna have 100 characters,
Yeah.
we're probably going to need to have a diverse cast.
That's a matter of density.
Yeah. Especially because in games like this, especially in the first-person shooter genre, you need to be able to identify on-site exactly who you're looking at.
TF2 being the ultimate example of character design aiding mechanical, identification, I guess, of characters.
Yes. A heavy walks around the corner. You don't have to spend 3 seconds figuring out what class they are. You know exactly who they are.
Games like Battlefield being somewhere on the other side of the spectrum where dudes are dudes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Other than weapon choice, you don't really
Yeah.
need to figure it out. But yes, I am very much looking forward to this Overwatch game. I like kind of the diversity in even the female characters, though there probably could be a little bit more diversity. But you have Farah, sorry, the Egyptian lady who is a paratrooper, in that she has a giant mech suit which allows her to fly, and her ultimate is she shoots missiles out of every square inch of her and just bombards an area.
Seems like a poor design choice, like in terms of mech design, because I don't know how you prevent those from not blowing up at some point.
Did you ever watch Gundam Wing?
I've watched enough Gundam Wing for probably 3 people.
Gundam Heavy Arms, I think. His chest opens, his arm pads open, everywhere just opens, and there's missiles.
What's ridiculous is missiles are actually fairly inefficient in terms of weapon capability versus efficiency of space use.
Well, and especially if you're talking about versus armor.
Yeah.
Like, you want metal rounds, you don't want fracture explosions.
Admittedly, armor-piercing, shaped charge warheads are admittedly a thing, because, hey, RPGs exist, but...
That's true.
On that note, I will let you know that we are overtime.
Okay. This has been a podcast maybe 40% about video games.
Yeah, I would say a solid 40%. And I think it's been entertaining the entire time. I've been moderating the chat, and that's been interesting. So
Holy shit, we have a chat.
Oh, there's a chat?
yeah, there's a chat, and there was some
I've been missing out on the chat. Hi, chat.
That's
on
funny.
the YouTube page. That's why I never see it. Right.
There we go.
Anyway, there were more messages. Now there are less messages. But anyway,
We're people being mean.
Yeah, it's okay. They're banned now.
Was anything funny at least?
Yeah, it was funny because I was battling with the guy. I was like, yeah, like I care. Go fuck off.
Okay, my pride hopes desperately that was me he was pissed at. Who was it?
I don't know, just some random asshole. Doesn't matter.
He wasn't mad at anyone in particular. I feel
No.
less worthy as a person now.
We'll work on that together as a space team.
As a space team.
Indeed.
Alright.
All right. On that note, for those of you still watching, thank you for watching. This has been Face to Face Game Podcast episode 34. Check in our live stuff, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.